After spending well over 100 hours in Moonlight Peaks, I can safely say it's a wonderful game and I've had an amazing time living out my best vampire farmer life. However, the game is not without its flaws, and there are a few things that have started to frustrate me over the course of my playthrough. So today, with the help of some suggestions from you, my community, I'm going to be going through all of the improvements, quality of life changes, and new features that I think would make Moonlight Peaks even better. I'm going to try not to delve into bugs and kind of issues, as fingers crossed the devs are already working on fixing those, and that may be a platform specific issue. If you want more Moonlight Peaks content, don't forget to like the video and also subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you would change about this game to make it even better. Moonlight Peaks is sold as a farming sim, and one of the main activities is obviously growing your crops. Players spend countless days carefully looking after their prized harvest, but how annoying would it be if one of your magical animals came along and ate them? You'd be pretty annoyed, right? Other farming games have gates so that we can provide an enclosure and keep our animals from heading off on unauthorized adventures, but sadly Moonlight Peaks lacks this ability. Instead, you have to get creative, like my dear friend did here. That bunny is definitely not passing. So here is my first suggestion: provide us with a recipe or a gate item so that we can keep our feral farm animals at bay and away from our crops. When it comes to animals and ranching, larger barn upgrades would also be appreciated. Space is at a premium on our farm, and we already have our house, we have the mill, and at the moment I have 2 barns. So having an option to be able to at least expand one of those to fit even more animals in there would be nice. Likewise, I would also appreciate a button to collect all of the animal products, or at least kind of a quicker way to do this. At the moment, when you need to collect both wool and milk from the Draculams, it just feels unnecessarily cumbersome. There's a lot of kind of dialogue options, and I know I don't really like talking to NPCs in games, but you have to side with me on this one. You're going in and out quite a bit just to collect your resources. Moving away from animals and onto crops, it would be nice if there was some clearer crop information in the game. We obviously do have our wonderful almanac, which tells us lots of things, and you can obtain the information when purchasing your seeds from Luna's shop. But for example, it would be nice when hovering over the seeds if it tells you how long they take to grow, or if when planted there was a better indication of how long was left, or even tell us what crop it is, as sometimes I do forget. I know you can bring out a tool, and if you want to destroy it, it will tell you what it is, but I would like to be able to just have that information there available. One crop that always catches me out is the rice, as when it kind of nears its end of its growth stage, the appearance looks a lot like the harvestable one when it's not. I have ran up to this crop countless times and only to be caught out. It's definitely catfishing me. I know players have been getting creative with the embroidery and making their own signs, which is pretty cool, but I'm not a great artist, so I'm just having to go it alone on this one. When it comes to actually planting your seeds, I do believe the process could also be improved. Placing fertilizer on your tilled soil is actually quite a nice experience. Everything kind of spreads nicely when you hold the button down, and it kind of is done in one fell swoop without too much interference from animations. However, with the planting of the seeds, it's a slightly different experience that does feel like it takes quite a bit of time, and is it really needed? I would say not. It would be nice if the sowing the seeds kind of mirrored the animation that you get when you're placing the fertilizer, just to make life that little bit easier. I also just need to say, please let the snow in winter water the crops. For me, this was one of the biggest letdown. I see snow in winter, I think, yes, I'm gonna have a lazy day. Oh, how wrong I was. For some reason, that snow does not water the crops. I know maybe kind of physically that's probably not possible, but there is definitely water in that snow. So please allow it to work for our normal crops. In my opinion, a well-designed inventory and storage system can be a huge selling point for a farming game. Organization is key, especially when you have hundreds, if not thousands of items. I do love the fact that we have an unlimited storage, and the improvement of being able to access that storage anywhere on the farm is a game changer, especially for forgetful people like me. At first glance, the storage system does appear quite well organized. You've got some fancy tabs along the top. However, if you delve into this a bit closer, you soon see that these aren't as well done as you first believe. For example, resources tab, if you go to this one, I would have thought that here would be where all of your basic materials such as wood, fiber, etc. should live. However, instead we have that, but also more, including bugs and fish, which to me is a little bit strange. These shouldn't be here at all. So I think these tabs just need a little bit of rejigging, reorganizing, just to make them a bit clearer and a bit more helpful. At the end of the day, I like to kind of do a little bit of cooking and then make sure I have sold all of the items that I want to, so the money will be there waiting for me the following day. It would be so helpful that if when deciding what to put into Chester's Belly, I could see the sale price of what I am planning to sell in my inventory before I kind of trape all the way outside and interact with him, only to find that this one thing that I've been cooking sells for 200. It's just a little bit frustrating and time consuming. It would also be nice if this option kind of displayed in the cooking tab as well. Just give us more information everywhere. A dream for the storage would obviously be a search function. However, I don't have my hopes high for this one, but if there are any game developers watching this, please, this is such an underrated quality of life feature that I think should be in your games from a get-go. I will cross my fingers and toes for this addition in the game, but honestly, it's probably not going to happen, as I feel like this is something they would have added from the get-go if they were planning on it. When it comes to crafting, I am so appreciative of the fact that we can multi-craft, and honestly, I don't have many notes on the crafting apart from the fact that once you have crafted an item and then you return to craft another item, you are scrolled right back to the top. It would be nice for the game to memorize where you were in kind of that order so that you can continue scrolling to find more cute items to make instead of being chucked right back up the top and then having scroll all the way back down to where you were. When you have crafted your furniture, you then obviously want to place it down, and unfortunately I do have a few more notes on the decorating and things that could be improved here. The first biggie is, of course, pausing whilst decorating. As it stands, when you enter the decorating mode, time will still pass in the game, which can get a little bit annoying, especially as it means you will get pulled away at the end of the day, and then it just breaks that decorating rhythm. I would love if as soon as you enter that decorating mode, the time would stop, allowing you to decorate to your heart's content with 0 interruptions. Trust me, I get pulled away, I go on side quests, unlimited side quests as it is. Having this would make me kind of focus that little bit better and kind of remember what I am doing. Also, when in decorating mode, to make things a little bit smoother, it would be nice if you could access your main storage. At present, you have to go into your storage, remove the items, add them to your inventory, and then enter decorating mode to place your items. It would be a lot smoother if you could kind of cut out this interaction and then just quickly access whatever items you need freely. Also, a big thing that might require a lot of reworking would be the ability to place items on a half tile or on a diagonal. I am an absolute sucker for clutter and adding items everywhere, which I appreciate won't be to everyone's taste, but when placing some items, you can see there is quite a big gap between things, so it would be nice if there was a way to kind of get those furniture items just a little bit closer together. And also, we have diagonal paths, so they know that we like to place things on a diagonal, so it would be nice to be able to place our furniture items too. I would appreciate the option to be able to zoom out further as well, especially while decorating. I want to be able to see how my overall farm layout looks without having to take a screenshot. I thankfully do play on PC, and I'm sure there is already a mod available for this to be able to zoom out. However, I don't really want to resort to adding mods to this in the game, and also that means that Switch players and other players who might be playing on like the Steam Deck would also be missing out as well. I would just like it so it would be nice to be able to lay out things, put your paths down, and kind of have that overall look, that bird's eye kind of distant view, which I think would help a lot of players out when it comes to decorating as well. Another thing I have struggled with when in decorating mode is being able to move your character. I have a bit of an awful habit, maybe this is just a me problem, but I kind of enter decorating mode not thinking about where my character is, and then it just ends up causing my character to get in the way quite a lot of the time. If there was a way to be able to, I don't know, pick up your character, move it out the way, maybe the character goes invisible so it's not causing a problem, or you can kind of override and place things on top of your character whilst in decorating mode. I don't know, I'm sure there is a great solution to this, but it is just a bit irritating to enter decorating mode, then have to come out of it just to move your character. The floors are really well done in this game, especially for your interiors. I love how easy it is to mix things up, so you can have one area with one floor type, another area with another. However, one thing I don't love so much is the wallpapers. The wallpapers are quite expensive, and we all know how many things there are to spend your money on in this game, so I don't truly love that they are kind of a one-time use and done. It would be nice if you could use your wallpapers multiple times. I would definitely sacrifice paying a little bit extra for that privilege. It also just feels like it's a bit of a shame when you have multiple rooms all together that you're then having to go buy multiple wallpapers for that one kind of space. I know they are kind of divided by hallways, and I get that, but having all the wallpaper in one shouldn't cost you multiple wallpapers, if that makes sense. As for the exteriors, more customization options would have also been nice. When it comes to other buildings on your farm, the mill in particular doesn't feel like there's much difference between the two options. And of course, I would never say no to more color options. I always love to be able to see more colors, more customization. And I think that's what kind of helps people's farms stand out from each other, because there is a few colors in the game, but kind of being able to really put your own creative stamp on it, you're a little bit limited because of that. So there are kind of some specific things that I've managed to squeeze in together, but here are some more random grumbles I have. This game has a lot of cutscenes, and they are normally triggered when you enter a new area. I personally normally have a plan in mind when I leave my farm and kind of an end goal of where I want to end up, and I would say 99% of the time that is not where the cutscene takes place, which is a little bit annoying, as when the cutscene ends, you end up in the location where the cutscene happens. It may be a tiny little thing, but I would really appreciate it if the game returned you back to the spot where you were when the cutscene was triggered. It would just kind of maybe rejig my memory as to where I was going or what I was doing. Also, on the topic of cutscenes, it would be great if they could switch up the dates a little bit. I'm kind of getting a little bit tired of roasting and eating marshmallows, as nice as they are. Sometimes I do feel like the cutscenes are a little bit long as well, so the option to kind of skip it or end it would be appreciated too. Another long-time moan of mine has been about the number of hits things take to be destroyed in the game, and I thought over time I would kind of see a significant decrease in the number of hits it takes to kind of knock down a tree or mine a rock, but despite being at the point where I have all gold tools, it still feels like a bit of a grind to perform these activities, which is a little bit of a shame. It would be nice if they could equalize things out a little bit, so perhaps consuming a higher amount of energy for lesser hits. I would definitely prefer that option, just speed things up a little bit. I also try to incorporate visiting the shops into my daily routine in the game. However, there are times I forget, or I'm having a busy day sorting out my crops, sorting out my animals, and before I know it, time has flown and it's 2 a.m. And of course, all the shops are closed. I get it, just go to the shops first thing. That would be the logical thing to do. But this is literally breaking a habit of a lifetime for me. Whenever I play a farming sim, it is just kind of my routine. I do my farm chores and then I head out. So if you could please just alter the shop opening times a little bit, I would be forever grateful. Also, on the topic of shops, please can you make the gramophone more easily accessible? For those that don't know, the gramophone is needed for the magical muse tree. I'm currently in year 2 and I have not seen it in my shop yet. And one of my viewers even said they are in year 3 and have not seen it. To alleviate this RNG luck, they definitely need to consider adding a recipe or an alternate way to get your hands on it so you can get growing this special tree. We are nearing the end of the video, I promise you, and you may be nearing the end of your playthrough. And if that's the case, I want you to cast your mind way back to the very beginning when you didn't know what you were doing, you didn't know what button did what. I feel like from the get-go, they could have done a better job displaying the controls and helping players get to know them a bit. They do display some on the screen, but they could just be done a little bit better. It took me a very long time to figure out what button it was to enter decorating mode. I don't need to have like big text splash across the screen, but maybe just kind of a little subtle reminder in the bottom left hand corner would have been good to save you having to go into the settings menu. And finally, one of the best ways to make money is obviously through cooked foods in the game. And I do not know how long I have taken cooking in this game, but it feels like a very, very long time. And that is because they don't have multi-cook. I could definitely speed up this process by allowing us to kind of cook multiple dishes in one go. The minigame for the cooking does lose a little bit of its magic after a while. So please consider allowing that multi-cook option. So there we go, there are all the things that I would improve, change, kind of tweak in Moonlight Peaks. I still obviously love the game and I am obsessed. This just comes from a place of love and wanting to see everyone enjoy it as much as they can. Let me know in the comments, as I said earlier, what is one thing that you would change. I'm sure I've forgotten something, but I would love to hear your thoughts too. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.